Welcome to the Class 1 tutorial, Introduction to JavaScript Node.js software tool. Agenda for today is we'll be installing several software packages. We'll start with Node.js. We'll install from the internet, and we'll check it out by writing a very simple JavaScript program. We'll also install Ngrok. This is a software that we will need for projects that require Facebook chatbot. Then we will discuss HTTPS, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, secured version of it for internet. And we will also discuss Json, JavaScript object notation data format that is used in the industry. Finally, we will conclude with introduction to JavaScript. I will also introduce you to an ebook, and then in the subsequent classes we will discuss more on the JavaScript itself. The very first software tool that we'll use is Node.js. Node.js is a very popular, largest open source software for JavaScript programmers. So it's designed really for running your software on the cloud. And people have developed thousands and thousands of software packages that are available for us. The interesting thing about Node.js is you download a very minimal set of software packages needed into your computer, and we'll see that in a minute. We'll go and download Node.js and install on our PC and write a very simple hello world JavaScript program and see how it works. And so it's a pick and build approach. What do we mean by that? It's basically you bring in the components or packages as and when you need. Like I mentioned, there are thousands and thousands of software packages. Let's say if you want a facial recognition package, then you only bring that package into your computer. So that way we're not bringing everything out there on the cloud, and it keeps the system keeps updating itself. So next time when you invoke a command, then it will go find out whether there is any updated software package available on the net, and then it updates your copy on your PC. So it's a very convenient package. We felt it was pretty good to use in our project. And HTTP is a first-class citizen. What does it mean? The Node.js JavaScript itself is primarily a web-based programming language. So a lot of the interaction from our JavaScript program that we will write to the net will be using HTTP and HTTPS, which is a secured version of HTTP. So that's what we'll do. So we'll very soon download Node.js and whatever computer you have, whether it's a Windows or a Mac or Linux PC, and then we will do a very simple JavaScript program. And make sure that our environment is clean, that Node is installed properly, and we can take a look at that. So let's do it in a minute. Let me complete the rest of the setup as well, and then we'll go through this in real time. So we'll also create a folder. It's called IGL Pvt bot. You can create it anywhere you want in your PC. I typically create that on the desktop so we can easily access it. So this is where we'll keep all of our software. So we'll write close to 8 or 9 modules, software modules in this project. So we'll keep all of them in this folder, as well as tools, whether it is Node or Ngrok. So we'll call it the bot folder from now on. When we describe our folder, we'll call it the bot folder. One other thing is we know all of us have a Notepad. Notepad is it's a very simple text editor for PC, but it is really not suitable for writing programs or keeping programs. So I would recommend a package or software called Notepad++. It's a pretty good, pretty decent software that has some knowledge about the content of the text that you're trying to add or you're trying to view. So for example, it understands the syntax of JavaScript. So when you view a JavaScript program, it highlights certain key elements as built-in functions or reserved words and so on. So it is a little bit more intelligent than the built-in notepad that we all have in our PC. So we'll download and install that also. These are all very simple software packages. We can build it download it in no time. And so then we'll write a very simple one-line JavaScript. So the first line we'll write is console.log, which means display onto the console, which means your PC terminal or display. We'll just write hello IGL Facebook chatbot. So this is the first program that we'll write in JavaScript, and we'll run them in Node and see how it works for us. We'll start doing it in real time, so you can follow along with me to create some of these steps as well. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen, so let us see. So we'll go create a folder. So the very first thing we do is we go create a folder, create new. I call it IGL Pvt bot. Okay, so that's on the desktop. Right now it is an empty folder. The very first thing we want to do is to go and download Notepad++. So if you go to Google and look for Notepad++, you will see a download section. So we can go there and we can download. So it has downloaded the Notepad++ 7.7 installer. I already downloaded and installed, but it's okay. I can install it again. I'm just installing it. All of them are okay. Create a shortcut on desktop. That's good. Okay, that's it. So basically, this is how the Notepad looks like. So we'll start using that this Notepad for our JavaScript programs. So that's the very first tool that we will install, and we've just done that. The second tool that we will install is Node. So let's go to Google and search for Node.js download. So we can go there, and here is the link to download Node.js. And since Node is open source software that supports many platforms, including platforms like Raspberry Pi and smaller IoT devices. As you can see here, there is a Windows installer, there's a Mac OS, and you can even get the source code of Node.js if you want to compile it on a different platform other than Windows and Mac. So let's go to Windows installer. Okay, so we'll select here. It has downloaded a package, so we'll try to install from there. It's computing the space requirements right now. Yeah, my computer is not the fastest in the world, so it takes a little bit of time. Okay, going through that. I accept the terms. You can leave the default location where Node is installed. It's program files node.js, which is fine. And the key thing is to add to path. I think that is turned on, which means we can run Node from any directory. So we'll do that. Okay. It's installing right now. Okay, it is successfully installed, which is good. So what we'll do is we can go to our text pad, right? So I don't need this change log. So we'll write a new one. So we'll say console.log. This is our very first JavaScript program. So we'll just say welcome to IGL Facebook chatbot. Okay, we'll do. So that's a very first line. So we'll save it. So this is where the text pad is quite useful. When we save as, it gives you a number of options. Of course, the default option is the text file. That's what most of the people do. But if you click on the save as type, you can see that it supports C, C++, all kinds of programming languages. So you can go to JavaScript. So we're going to save this file as a JavaScript, and we want to save it in the bot folder. So let's go to the IGL FB bot folder, which is empty right now, and we'll call it hello. Okay, so we wrote the very first line of JavaScript, console.log, and we're going to save it as a hello.js file in the bot folder. Okay, so as you can see, it has already saved. So we can go take a look at that. Yes, my bot folder has an hello.js. The way to run that, so in all of your PCs, you will have a command prompt. So if you type in command in the search window, you will see a command prompt application. So you bring that up. It's not a very user-friendly window, but this is how Node gets run on your PC. So when you type in here, I can go to the desktop. So basically, the two commands that we will use on PC is change directory. So CD stands for change directory, and you can type in desktop, because that's where the bot folder is. And if I do a directory, I can see the IGL FB bot is here. For most of our PC, you don't have to type in the entire directory name in full. You type in partial, and then you press tab. It completes the rest of the directory. For example, I type in change directory IGL-FB, then I just press the tab. It completed the directory name IGL FB bot. Okay, so this is where we are, and as you can see that there is a hello.js. Before we run this program, we just need to initialize the node.js. So the command to initialize node.js is npm. npm stands for the node package manager, init -y. So what this command does is it initializes the node package with all the necessary initialization parameters, and it's going to keep the initialization parameters in our bot folder, which we will see it in a minute. And the -y means just accept all the answers as yes. Otherwise, it's going to ask you many times, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? So in order to avoid all that, so this command will be a simpler command. So this is the very first step that one needs to do before you start using the node.js software. So we do that. Okay, so as you can see, it has created a node installation or initialization, and it has kept it in our folder. It has a version number, and it basically picks up some JavaScript and say that is the main, and everything else is not that relevant. So basically, after you did that step, if you took a look at your directory, it creates a package.json. So this is how Node knows what packages are downloaded on your PC. So let's say if you install an HTTP package, if you install any of the facial recognition or any software that is available on Node, then it keeps track of the packages that you've downloaded in this file called package.js. So you can take a look at that offline. Okay, now I think we have a node installed. We have initialized the node. We have created our very first hello.js. Now it is time to run the JavaScript program. So the way you run is you type in node hello.js. Okay, there it has run it. It displayed whatever we wanted to display. Our JavaScript is a very simple JavaScript. It simply said welcome to IGL chatbot. So let us say if we modify this to June 2nd, let's type in June 2nd, 2019. Let us save it and go back to our command prompt. And most of our command prompt will also accept the up arrow as a previous command. So for example, I can go back by pressing up arrow and down arrow to browse through all the commands that I had given in this terminal window. So when I type in node hello.js, it is going to display whatever changes we have made. So basically, our node environment is clean right now. It is installed, initialized. It is ready to run JavaScript programs. So that's node.js. So we'll go back to our presentation. So that's all we did. So we set up our PC and we completed hello.js. The next tool is I think all of this is we have done completed. This is what we just completed, right? We make sure our hello.js listed. We typed in hello.js. So we successfully ran our first node program. And the next software tool is called Ngrok. So here is the pictorial representation of what it does. Typically, when we have our laptop or our computer, Mac connected to our local home network or even work network, it is usually behind a firewall because we want to protect, for example, this person's computer from any external hackers and spamware and so on. So the firewall prevents those unauthorized access coming into the network. So in this case, for example, this boy wants to share his PC in a secured way onto the internet, and this girl wants to access the computer. Let's say whether it's a software or a server that is running on this laptop she wants to access. The secure way to do that is something that is provided by Ngrok. There are many software packages that allow this to do. So the way you do that is you install Ngrok. You go to ngrok.com, install their software. When you run their software, for about 8 hours, they give you a public URL that exposes your computer or whatever software you're running on the computer to an external world. So whoever has that URL can access your software running on your PC, and they have a timeout. So they give you a maximum of 8 hours, and then if you want again, you rerun Ngrok, and every time they give you a randomly generated URL, so it cannot be guessed. So nobody can guess what that URL is. So there are, like I mentioned, there are many software packages like Ngrok that allows us to do, but some of them don't do a good job. So in order to build the Facebook chatbot, Ngrok is one of the approved software packages. So this is why we are choosing this package called Ngrok, and we'll see that in action in a minute. So but the purpose of this software, like I mentioned, is to securely expose your application running on your PC onto the net. Because what will happen is we're going to be running, just like we ran our first node application, we'll be running our chatbot in our computer or laptop. That needs to be accessed by Facebook Cloud, because the Facebook users are on the Facebook Cloud. So for Facebook to securely come through our firewall, come and access our laptop, we need to have a mechanism. So this is why we need to install Ngrok package. Okay, so we'll go run it now. So it's very simple. We'll go to ngrok.com, download. We'll download it on our PC. Make sure it is downloaded into our bot folder so we can always go and run it from there. It'll mostly, it's a zip file, so we can unzip it and get the ngrok.txt. So unlike the Node installation, it doesn't have lots of files. It's just one file called ngrok.txt, and it's an executable in TC. And so we'll make sure that we keep it in the bot folder, and then we'll open up another command prompt and we type in ngrok http 3000. So what this command does is it tells ngrok that we are interested in exposing an HTTP application from our laptop or PC, and we're going to be listening in on a port called number 3000. So this can be any arbitrary. So before you, let's say if you're running an application or a web server on your laptop or PC, you need to determine what port number that you'll be listening on for incoming requests from the external world. So in our case, we'll be using the port 3000. So our chatbot will be running locally on our PC or Mac or laptop, and we'll be listening in on port 3000. So this is what we're telling Ngrok, that please expose a public URL from my PC and allow an application, allow any software to come in and use my application that is listening in on 3000. Okay, and the output will look something like this. So we'll do that in a minute. So let's go to Google again. Let's go to Google search, and we go to Ngrok download. All right, so let's go there. Here is the download Ngrok link. And like with anything else, Ngrok is also supported on a number of platforms. As you can see here, you have Mac OS, Linux, and all this stuff, but we are interested in Windows. If you're using Mac, you can download on your Mac. So let's go download it on Windows. It's doing that right now. Okay, as I mentioned, it is a zip file. So let's go unzip it, and I have a unzip program. So the ngrok.txt you can drag and drop into the bot folder. So let's go to the bot folder. This is my bot folder where I have the hello.js. So this is where I'm going to be dragging and dropping the ngrok.txt. That's all. So that completes our installation of Ngrok. So basically, it's a zip file. We extract it and keep the simple ngrok.txt in the bot folder. So that's all we need to do. So like anything else, we'll go type in a command. We'll bring up another command prompt. We'll do the same thing. We'll change directory to desktop. We'll change directory to IGL FB bot. We'll do a directory listing. Yes, I can see our first hello.js program. This is ngrok.txt we just installed or extracted into. So if the way you run ngrok http 3000. Voila. So basically, Ngrok has given me two URLs. There is a HTTP URL and there is a HTTPS, a secured URL. So this is what you publish. All right. So basically, we'll copy this. The one way to copy in the command prompt, you can go. This is what I've done. I've selected the HTTPS link, and let me go here and edit copy. So I've copied that link. You can also copy it by just simply pressing enter in some of the terminals, but the menu-based copy is more safer. So it's now copied. It's in my clipboard. I go to my browser and I just paste it. Of course, there is no application running right now, but at least what I wanted to show was that the request has come in here. See, as you can see, as and when I click on this, it gets a request. it gets a request. Basically, Ngrok is accepting request from the browser right now, which is like an external world. It is coming through my firewall and into the Ngrok application. And since there is no application that is listening in on 3000, it doesn't know what to do with it. So that is why it is giving us these error messages, but which is normal. So all this means is that the URL that Ngrok has published to us is working. So that is the second installation. I'd like all of you to make sure that you have it running. Okay. Now let us go back to the presentation. So we completed installing Ngrok as well. So let us see. I think this slide basically talks about how we verified the installation of Ngrok. We opened up the browser, we typed in the URL, and we saw all of these bad gateway commands and so on. So basically, all this means is Ngrok is working fine for us. So these two tools, Node.js and Ngrok, we will use extensively in the project. You will see as we go into the next few phases of developing the software modules for the chatbot. Every time we want to test it, we'll bring up Ngrok, we'll run our program in Node, and that is what will be the two steps that we will do on our PC. And then we'll go to the Facebook and take a look at how to bring up the chatbot in the messenger and so on. But these are two important tools, so please make sure that in your PC or Mac or laptop, you have both Node and Ngrok installed properly and running it for you. All right, some concepts now. Other tools or some protocols that we'll be using is HTTP. Most of you would be familiar with HTTP. It's a hypertext transfer protocol. This is the protocol through which the browsers connect to the server, and secured is HTTPS. So we're also going to use a data format called JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Though it has JavaScript on it, but it can be used by anything. It is just the way how you arrange data. It's a lightweight data interchange format. So we'll give you an example of what a JSON object is or a JSON file is. But you can go take a look at in json.org some more examples of how a JSON looks. For example, let me see if I can show an example of what we will be using. Give me a second. I might have some examples already on the desktop. Yeah, let's see if there is any backbot. Yeah, so here is an example of a JSON file. I bring it up. Let's say it's bringing up in Word. So this is an example of a JSON file. It's called fruit, and basically we are defining. It's a name value pair. So this is the name and this is the value. So the name of the attribute is color and it is yellow. And so the banana, so we're defining a fruit called banana, and the name is banana, the color is yellow, and we're going to give a number for the fruit. So that is, it's a very simple JSON file. So the way it is done is you have a curly parenthesis that encompasses the attributes, and we have three attributes called name, color, and fruit ID. And we have provided value for each one of the attributes. The attribute for name is banana, attribute for color is yellow, and the fruit ID is 1. So the very simple JSON formatted file. Some people call it JSON object, some people call it JSON file, but they all mean the same. So so this is one example of a JSON file. Another example, slightly more involved, is the fruits. Here you can see it's an array of fruits. So this is the name of the object, so to speak. It's fruits, and the square parenthesis indicates that we are going to be defining it as an array. It's a collection of fruits, and same attributes: name, color, and fruit ID. But instead of just having banana, we have several more, right? We have cherry, apple, watermelon, and in addition to banana as well. So this is another example of a JSON object where you can represent data in a way that that is easy to understand. And JSON is also extensively used between two systems. When two companies want to exchange data, this could be an easier way. So they just publish a JSON file. There are parsers and constructors available in most of the platforms. So this is the reason why JSON is very popular. So I would recommend you to go just read up a little bit on the Wikipedia. JSON.org is another great place to get an idea of what JSON is. And let me just briefly introduce JavaScript. It's a very popular programming language for the web. It started out in the mid-90s, and it is primarily adding some sort of a dynamic content generation in the web page, because web pages were very static when they started out, and they wanted to have a little bit more programming capability in the web page. So this is where the language was born. Java and JavaScript are entirely different. Of course, they do share some syntax, but Java is usually a standalone application. You compile and you run them, whereas JavaScript is more of an interpretive language. It's part of a browser. What has happened is people looked at that and say, now we want a standalone version of JavaScript. And this is where Node.js came in and created that environment for us. So I think nowadays they are used in databases, even in desktop environment, like we just did. Right? We just downloaded Node.js. We ran JavaScript locally on our PC. We didn't have to use a browser. So basically, the programming language JavaScript is now enabling many server-side programs, not necessarily only within the browser. It can run as a standalone application on any server or on the cloud. I'll also share with you an ebook that we use. It's a book called Eloquent JavaScript. It's a fairly simple book. It's not that complicated. So I'll send you a pointer to this book where you can talk about what is JavaScript, what does it do. It's a very easy to read book. It's not too big. And some of the chapters here is what we will be covering in our JavaScript tutorial as well, in terms of what are values, operators, what is a program structure, how does a statement look like, what is a function, and things like that. So very simple concepts that we might need. Okay, I think that concludes this today's class. So just to recap, we installed Node, we installed Ngrok. We also took a look at some JSON files that we'll be working with, and now we are ready to start programming. So that concludes our first class, Introduction to JavaScript and Node. Now it is time for quiz. We have 6 questions for the quiz. The first question is, can JavaScript be used as a programming language for front end and back end? Give an example of how it can be used. Second question is, what is package.json? Hint here is Node. Third question is what commands have you learned using command prompt in your PC? For example, what commands did you use to change directory? Fourth command, what commands did you use to initialize the Node package? Fifth question is, we would like you to take a picture using a smartphone camera of your first program using Node.js and share it with us. Last question, what is JSON and how is it used in the industry? Hope you enjoyed the first tutorial class. Thank you very much for your time.